Alright, the second example says Tyler, Raven, and Deb are discussing the number of CDs that they each own. They find that the following statements are true. Tyler owns 5 more than twice the number of CDs that Raven owns. Deb owns 3 times as many CDs as Tyler. If they have a total of 65 CDs, how many does each person have? So again, we're given some scenarios based on each person and how many CDs they own. We need to determine an expression using algebra for each individual person, and then somehow combine these expressions to show that they have a total of 65 CDs between them. So first thing you'd want to do is start by identifying your variables. What are our variables? Well, we can say that let T be the number of CDs Tyler owns. We can say let R be the number of CDs that Raven owns. And finally, let D be the number of CDs that Deb owns. Now notice again previously, like the previous example we did, we have 3 variables. However, we like to work with 1 variable. We want to express how many each person owns in terms of somebody else. Well, let's take a look at what they tell us. They say Tyler owns 5 more than twice the number of CDs that Raven owns. So that would say Tyler has 5 more than twice the number of Raven. Well, if Raven owns R CDs and Tyler owns twice as many as that plus 5, Tyler is 2R plus 5. Okay, so we have something for Tyler. What about Raven? Well, they didn't really tell us anything about Raven. So let's say that Raven just owns R. R CDs is how many Raven owns, as we explained in our question, in our definitions of our variables. And what did they tell us about Deb? Well, Deb owns 3 times as many as CDs as Tyler. So let's say Deb is equal to 3 times T, but I know that T is actually 2R plus 5. So if I did this, 3 times 2R plus 5, and we know here 3 times this bracket, I can distribute that 3. I'm left with 6R plus 15. So Deb has 6R plus 15, Raven has R, Tyler has 2R plus 5. Each person is represented in terms of 1 variable. I'm able to use these 3 individual expressions and somehow incorporate this total of 65 between them. If altogether they own 65 CDs, I should be able to say T plus R plus D equals 65. Let's replace T and D with 2R plus 5 plus R plus 6R plus 15 equals 65. There's 1's in front of my brackets, so nothing changes with distributive property. 2R plus 5 plus R plus 6R plus 15 equals 65. Let's collect all of our like terms. All terms with variables on one side, all terms without on the other. 9R equals 65 minus 15 minus 5. So here I brought my constant terms over and I added together my like R terms. I now have 9R equals 45. And how do I isolate for R? Well, I divide each side by 9. Divided by 9 and divided by 9. R equals 5. Well, there we go. Raven owns 5 CDs. What about Tyler? Well, Tyler is 2R plus 5. And I substitute in the 5. Well, Tyler owns 15. And what about Deb? Deb is 6R plus 15. 6 times 5 plus 15. Deb owns 45. Why did I do each of those? Because the question asked, how many does each person have? Remember, it's always important to go back in a word problem. What is the question actually asking me to find? So, with any word problem, I do a quick therefore. Deb owns 45 CDs. Tyler owns 15 CDs. And Raven owns 5 CDs.